Hi everyone, welcome back to Opportunity Elite. Today we are having a look at ball mastery for the under 6 to under 9 player. We'll have some techniques that really focus on the technique for those younger players and help them build the foundations of their game. Between the under 6 to under 9 age groups, ball mastery is one of the most key areas for development, in my opinion. The more touches that we can take of high quality on the ball, the better they're going to be. So we're trying to look at different techniques and the different sort of styles of ball mastery to help your young players improve. But first of all, we're going to look at it as a certain stage. So what we want to try and develop initially is our players' touches on the ball with the sole of their feet and their studs. The reason for this is to help players try and get a grip on the ball. They're starting to get a feel for it on both feet and move the ball from one side to the other, using it across their body or moving it forwards and back. The more that we can do this, the more that we'll actually start to see players having good control. So we want to just start gently with the small touches on the studs and then we progress from there. So initially we'll just start with a gentle little roll across our body. What's important with this is that we're focusing on keeping our body forward, so our chest facing forwards, and we're sweeping the ball across our body onto the other foot. The more that we can do this, the better we become at gripping it and then shifting it from one side to the other. So we started off with gentle touches, moving it across our body, but now we're moving into touches going forwards and back. So just on their stronger foot, you want to try and get them to push the ball forwards and then roll it back again. Key part to it here is chest facing forward, slight bend in the knees. If we can get that, we're going to have control, but we want to try and be assertive with the ball. So we encourage them to try and grip it. And remember, if we make mistakes, that's not a problem. We want to just keep working hard at trying and getting those good, clean touches on the ball. To progress from here, we're now looking at trying to move the ball sideways, so out of our body with our studs. As we do that again, little bend in the knees, chest facing forwards, and just nice grip. Starting to get a feel for different parts of the sole of our foot now, and it's just helping players be a bit more comfortable in keeping the ball at their feet. So we started to get a little bit more grip on the ball, but now we're going to try and roll it and actually have a little bit of body movement as well, just a tiny little drop of the shoulder. So we're going to roll the ball from one foot across to the other, stop it and then with the other foot, and then step on. As we step off, we need our knees bent, we need to try and drop that shoulder to make it look like we're going the other direction. Then we bring that back foot back up, roll it across to the other side again. What we're trying to develop now is a little bit of body movement. Ball mastery isn't just about what you do with your feet and the ball, it's about the body movement too. Can we start to develop players who are good at trying to drop their shoulder and change direction? We don't want to make it too hard, but we're now going to progress a little bit and try and get the players combining what we've just done. So we're going to try and roll the ball across our body, have a little touch through the cones, and then drag it back. Now we're going to sweep it across the other side of the cone to start again and repeat that technique from the other side. We use the studs at first to make sure players can get grip on the ball, to get confidence on the ball. It's the starting point for ball mastery. So here, these 5 little drills that we've got are really, really helpful for developing that touch, developing that control, and then starting to build up their confidence. Once we have that, we can then move on to different parts of the feet and developing those skills a little more. And now we're going to start using the outside and the inside of our foot. Now about moving the ball with the different parts of the feet. We've had the studs to get the control, now we want the change of direction with the outside and the inside of the boot. So to start, just to get a feel for the outside of the boot, we want players starting at one cone and then just trying to get their chest facing forwards, having little nudges with the outside of the boot across to the other cone. it too hard, but keeping it under control. What's important with this is that we're trying to emphasise that our chest faces forwards. We want players to try and face forwards as we're doing our ball mastery skills, because if we get into a situation in the game where they're playing against somebody, we don't want them to turn away. We want to try and get them facing forwards and engaging their opponent. So we're just getting them used to having a little bit of bend in the knees, using the touches on the outside of the boot, but getting the chest facing forward. Now to progress from there, we're going to add in the inside of the foot. And it's small touches. We just want a little bit of a bend in the knees. We want players to learn to be a little bit dynamic, have movement when they've got the ball. We don't want players to be slow and a little bit heavy-footed when they're on it. We want them to have a little bit of a bounce in their legs and try and keep control. So we're going to use the inside of the foot from one side to the other, and then once we've done that, we're going to start off with an outside of the foot to one side, inside of the foot brings it back to your starting point. As we do that, we'll start swapping sides so we can practice on both feet and get a nice controlled grip on the ball. Now, so as a progression to this, it's going to get slightly trickier for the players, but we go slowly. We get the technique first, and then we develop the speed. So now we're going to do little outside-inside touches, moving the ball from one foot to the other. It'll be tricky as we're moving the ball from that stronger foot to the less used side, but the more we practice the early stage, the better they'll be. So we're going with an outside touch out of our body, and the inside brings the ball back into the other foot. Then with a little bit of movement, we try and get the outside of our foot round the ball again, and the inside will bring it back into the middle. So we're going outside, inside on one foot, and then on the other. So again, we want a bit of a bounce in those legs. We want to be dynamic. We don't want slow players on the ball. We want to try and help teach and encourage them for when they get older to be sharp, quick and positive with it. But first off, we mustn't try and push them to go too quick so that they're making mistakes. We go slowly, get their technique. Even if it's at walking speed, that is fine. But we want to try and develop the technique slowly, allowing them to get quicker and more confident as they progress. So we're progressing our touches nicely now, and we're going to now just start bringing in a little bit of our sole of the foot and now the outside and inside of the boot. So we're trying to combine things, which is the progression of ball mastery here. We want to try and move the ball from one foot to the other using different parts of the feet but having control. And we're going to start off with that with the V touch. The final stage that we're going to look at initially in our development for ball mastery is the movement of the body. So we can start to move our body to create space to position the ball elsewhere. And we're going to start looking into that now. I think it's incredibly important to get players who are, as I said earlier, sort of dynamic on the ball, ready to move, but players who are able to potentially beat an opponent with a quick drop of the shoulder or a quick little feint to go one way and then take it the other. Ball mastery can help really develop players in this, and it's surprising how much you can actually do in such a small space of a small area. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to get players used to just moving their feet and their body without having to touch the ball. Okay, so we want to be keeping the ball under control, keeping it steady in front of us, but then using our body, using our feet to try and deceive an opponent. So we're just practicing little movements off the ball here. So initially we're starting off with the step overs. So we're going to start with getting the outside of the boot around the ball and then swapping from one foot to the other. As we do that more, we start to see that we can go a little bit quicker, but it's all about keeping our body weight central and having the outside of the boot go around the ball nice and sharply. To progress, we're going to go with the roll, stop, step, and then add in a little step over. This is key here because it's now starting to look at us dropping our shoulder. Progression on this now, we're actually going to do a step over, touch the ball to the other cone with the outside of the boot and bring it back into the middle with the inside.
Or will you run it, or will you run it on? Where you belong.
We'll then start again and then go the other way. But again, what we've got to work on is emphasising that drop of the shoulder. So if we've noticed, we're starting to combine a little bit of the first two stages. So we're now going to combine it all together. Now for the U6-U9 age groups, this is actually a really, really good practice. It may look a little tricky initially and they might do it wrong by stepping over on the wrong foot, but as they develop and as they progress, they'll start to see that if they do a step over, taking the ball away with the other foot will help them get away from their opponent, because their opponent has followed where they have stepped with that step over and their body movement. Here we're just going to look at that quick drop of the shoulder. Similar to how we did it with the step overs, we don't need to always have the ball moving at the start. We just want to try and get players used to that movement. So all we're going to do is get them to step one side of the ball, drop their shoulder and take it off in the other direction. Then on the next turn, we come back into the middle, step the other side of the ball, drop the shoulder and take it across to the other side. It's just getting used to having that drop of the shoulder, using your body to try and trick someone. Ball mastery isn't always about the type of touches on the ball, it's about what we do with our movement off of it. If we become talented in moving the ball quickly but then using our body to deceive players, you're going to have players who are comfortable in taking people on, comfortable in changing direction and moving away from opponent. And as our final progression to try and get a little bit more tricky movements in, but movement of the body, we are looking at having a quick little drop of the shoulder and taking the ball to the side. As we get towards that side in that cone, we're going to do a quick step over and hook the ball back towards the middle. Stages that we're working on. We've got the initial touches with the starts, just getting players confident in rolling the ball from one foot to the other, getting grip on it and keeping it close to their feet. We're then progressing to using the outside and the inside of the boot, trying to shift the ball from one foot to the other with quick change of direction. And then that final area is the body movement, something that I am incredibly passionate about, something that I really think players need to help develop or work on in their game. Quick body movement, quick feints and changes of direction help massively, and they can actually really set players apart from their opponents. But the more touches they're getting on the ball of a high quality, the better they're going to be. And in between the ages of 6 and 10, there are going to be some absolutely huge developments for your players. Thanks for watching, guys. Try and use that in your training. Keep developing those players' touches on the ball and help them by having the ball each with them at the start of every session. 10-15 minutes of each session, and there will be a huge improvement over the course of the season. We will see you next time. Thank you. Please like and subscribe, hit the little alarm bell and the notification box so you can get notified of every YouTube upload, and please feel free to share it with any other coaches or players or parents as well that you think this will benefit. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.